As expected, it did not take long for Loss Machine Shonan Sakura's retirement to be superseded by another sumo headline. Hakuho DNF. Yes, Hakuho did not fight for the second day running, making this the first interstable he has attended without contesting bouts. It's a sumo maxim that the older you get, the fewer practice bouts you do, but Hakuho is of the breed which rather likes to show off, as previous interstable foes can vouch. What then does today say about his condition? We know he worked hard on the core movements this morning, breaking off to give technical advice to Mitakeumi and Ichinojo, then offering his chest to the former at the end. But perhaps as a consequence of yesterday's interview shutdown fiasco, he left without taking questions. A fun, or perhaps sobering fact for you: since 2014, Hakuho has won just 15 bouts in September, all in the same event 3 years ago. Thus, for the past 6 years, he basically hasn't done autumn tournaments. The contraction of interstable practice from 6 days to 4 seemed warmly welcomed by salaried wrestlers this time, a decent 12 of whom turned up for today's finale. Evident to a high degree was the eagerness of wrestlers with no top-level sparring partners at the stable. Ichinojo, Takayasu, Mitakeumi, Kaisho, Kiribayama, Oho, Onosho, and Nishikigi especially. And it was also nice to see Sadanoumi and Myogiryu make the 30-minute trip from Sakaigawa stable to add variety. "I've always wanted to come down and try it," Myogiryu said, "because there's so many styles to go up against here. What swayed it for me was the sumo-wide PCR tests last week. That finally made me feel comfortable coming." His enthusiasm translated into 9 practice bouts today, and a stirring force-out of 200 kilo Ichinojo. "He's a heavy one, I'll tell you," the veteran grinned. "But the fact I could force him out puts a spring in my step ahead of September." Mitakeumi was also delighted with this week's sessions, and revealed he would have come yesterday too, but for his health check. "A charging session with Hakuho was a great way to finish this week," he beamed, before spending the rest of his interview answering questions about the retirement of Olympic swimmer Kosuke Hagino, who went to the same university. Luckily, the two men do know each other, and Mitake has something to say. Very often, it's the case that a wrestler has had no contact with a famous person from their school or uni, and yet is expected, in Japanese culture, to be able to talk at length about them. Okay, that cultural point brings to an end our interstable reports this time. There are now 17 days remaining before the tournament, which means just 4 days to go until the September rankings are out. And I'm sure we can squeeze other videos in before then.